What's up, Heather?
What's up, B?
Well, today on Tortured Bourbon, we're diving into a story that's part bourbon history, part business meltdown, and part how to accidentally change the American whiskey industry forever.
And part, I can't believe someone sold the backbone of American whiskey for the price of a couple not all that expensive Manhattan apartments.
Yeah, not the best ones.
No.
Y'all-
Definitely not a Central Park view.
No. This is the saga of Seagrams MGP and why you literally can't walk into a liquor store without seeing their fingerprints everywhere.
Plus, you get to hear me call a Canadian business mogul a dummy, so that's a lot of fun. Buckle
Absolutely.
up, y'all.
Now, before we get into this is one of those times where a lot of people will hit, no, I'm moving on to the next one. I'm not going to watch this episode because we don't dive into some bourbon rant, blah, blah, blah. This is the show where what I would like you to do is pour yourself some bourbon or listen to this on the drive home, but don't drink bourbon then.
If you're doing it
because
then.
you're going to learn so much about the bourbon industry that you probably didn't know, and you're going to be able to amaze your friends.
But we're not going to go into overly detailed things about it. Like just enough, like B said, to impress like your slightly bourbon snobbish friends. Yeah. You'll know more than them.
And you are going to turn to Google and learn all types of stuff because this is going to make you want to look at stuff.
And what it's probably going to happen is somebody's going to be at a party and they're going to be a bourbon snob about how their favorite bourbon was distilled by great uncle so and so, and you're going to be able to say, actually, that's MGP, and you're going to know what that means.
So, before we dive into it, let's remind all of you to like and subscribe and check out the website, torturedbourbon.com, and follow us on all of our socials because Heather tells me it's important. I'm not so sure. Anyway, before MGP was pumping out half the rye on the shelf, before Indiana was basically the Silicon Valley of bourbon, there was this little Canadian company called Seagrams.
Little Canadian company. Yeah. That sounds about as believable as Nickelback being rock legends.
Right?
We really do trash on Nickelback a lot.
I mean, we got nothing else better to do.
Yeah, it's fair.
Except Seagrams actually was legendary. It was started in 1857 in a small town called Waterloo, Ontario.
I was really hoping you would sing the ABBA song right
Waterloo. I can't remember all the words. For the first time ever on show, I don't remember the words to the song.
I know. This is historic.
Very historic.
No, you're Scottish?
All right.
They're not Scottish. They're Swedish.
That's a good point. So, good point. I was thinking epic from Englishmen who went uphill. It's epic. It's an epic story. All right. So,
there's always a reason he's not wrong.
No, I was wrong. I'm just saying where my mind was.
Okay.
Where's my mind?
Scary place.
Gee, you better believe it. So let's picture Ontario. Snow, horses, and whiskey barrels rolling gently out of the barns. That's how Joseph Seagram got it going. Basically, he was making hooch for the town.
Which is how, honestly, all the best legendary distillers got started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
It's kind of like if your local brewery accidentally became Budweiser. Like, that was really the glow-up that happened.
Who stole their recipe from... Anyway, we won't get into that right now.
We don't need to talk about that.
So let's fast forward into the 1920s. Enter the Bronfman family, that I can't pronounce. Bronfman. Specifically, Samuel Bronfman, who swooped in and bought Seagrams. Right, get this, y'all. This is timing. He bought a Canadian massive distillery, Canada, right as America says, no, we're not going to drink anymore and goes into Prohibition.
We're done.
We're done. That is timing.
So basically, he said, I'm going to make a giant cross-country or cross-border Costco run, and I'm going to set stuff up over here.
Yeah, it is amazing. So Americans can't legally buy alcohol. He's up here chilling in Canada, and he's cranking out whiskey and gin and whatever else, and just letting it accidentally find its way across the border in 1929. I mean, he's swimming in cash. He is Scrooge McDucking it. And there's nothing they can do to him because he's in Canada. He's in Canada.
And he didn't drive it over the border.
I'm just making it, So he gets the nickname Sam the Bootlegger. And what are you going to do to the dude?
I want a cool nickname like that.
And we'll call you Heather the Bootlegger.
But I'm not a bootlegger. We have no opportunities such as that right now.
Not right. So by the 1930s, after Prohibition ended, Seagrams was perfectly set up to flood the United States with aged spirits. They had acquired the Rossville distillery, remember that name, and they were sitting on stockpiles like nobody's business, just stockpiles of bourbon. They had the original allocation FOMO. I mean, it was just like, here you go, boy, boom.
So they're up there in Canada like, oh, America, your distillery's dry? Sorry, bro. We've got 100,000 barrels aging beautifully up here in beautiful, beautiful Quebec.
They probably had a French accent.
Oui, oui.
Oui, oui, yes.
Oui, oui.
Oui, oui. So through the 1940s through 1960s, Seagrams became a liquor juggernaut. They're building distilleries all over North America, Kentucky, Indiana, you name it. You see what Prohibition does? It empowers Canadian companies.
Yeah, and then it literally made everyone alcoholics, and people die from unsafe alcohol. So yeah, when you try to legislate morality, it ends badly.
Absolutely. They become the largest distiller, wait for it, in the world. The whole world. The entire world.
That's a lot.
They're exporting over, you can't get bigger.
That's big.
They're
That's real
exporting
big.
to over 100 countries with brands like Seagrams VO, Crown, Crown Royal, Seven Crown, and blending Chivas, whatever. Yeah.
We're never going to say that right. So basically, they've become the Disney World for booze.
Yeah.
If it was on the shelf, there was a really good statistical chance that it came from them.
Minus the mouse.
Minus the mouse.
Yeah. So Samuel Bronfman passes it on to sons Edgar Sr. and Charles Edgar Sr. And they are...
No. Edgar Sr. and Charles. They're two separate people.
Oh, you're correct. You're right. I'm sorry.
That's
Edgar
okay.
Sr. and Charles.
I'm only emphasizing that because it becomes important later.
It does.
Remember
It
Edgar
does.
Sr.
Senior,
This
yes.
is the good Edgar.
Yeah, good Edgar, as opposed to...
We'll talk about it later.
So they're business brains, and they double down on aging warehouses, quality, and marketing. I mean, they lean in hard.
So it's basically like Gordon Ramsay and Don Draper had a baby.
Kind of like what
But
you've
for
turned
whiskey.
into me. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a very
High-strung
high-strung child. But highly motivated.
Oh, you are motivated.
Highly
So in the
motivated.
1970s, Seagrams, we told you this is why you want to be drinking while you're watching this episode.
Because you just had to listen to us speaking incessantly.
I want you to hear, though, what these folks owned. They owned Tropicana. They owned Napa Wineries. Now, here's it, folks. They owned a 25% stake in DuPont. And they owned oil companies. They were on the Fortune's list of top 10 companies in North America. Not the top liquor companies. Right. They were a top 10 company in the United States.
So they had gone from snowy little Waterloo in Canada all the way to Wall Street with high-powered, high-priced stock, and literally it all started with people wanting to get drunk.
So, yeah. And
as all the good stories do.
And this is, in 1933, this is where Indiana enters the story. So right after Prohibition, Seagrams has got cash. They got cash on hand. So they come down and they build a monster distillery. The largest of its time in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Why? It's perfect climate for aging. It's close to corn and rye farms. If you've ever driven through Indiana, the one thing they got going on is
cornfields.
And they had easy rail access. So they built a monster at the time, state-of-art distillery. It is an industrial plant. It is there for perfection. It is, and it worked.
That strategy was a really good one.
For a while.
And it worked well.
And that here, my dear Heather, sets the stage for one of the greatest corporate oopsies of all time. Because the only thing that can take down a booze empire built by smugglers and billionaires...
It's a rich kid who wants to be in Hollywood.
There you go. So coming up in a second, we want you to remember the name Edgar Bronfman Jr. and his billion-dollar midlife crisis. But before that, let's just talk about something. And we're going to take a brief break. We are drinking today the Hersk...
Are we?
Yes, we're trying.
That's a shocker.
The Hersk Horizon. This is an MGP product straight out of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, with their regular mash bill of 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. And it's
then it's bottled in Bardstown.
Yeah, it's bottled in Bardstown, right out of Lawrenceburg.
Yeah, we decided for all the storytelling, we really needed a starter today, but we wanted to make sure it was on brand for the episode. So B came through with the Hersh.
One of the many. So before we get to the big Hollywood face plant, here's the craziest part. So in the 1980s, as we said, Seagrams had bought a 25% share of DuPont. Now that's the chemical giant. If you've never heard of DuPont, I want you to wake up from whatever coma you've been in for the past 100 years and walk around in your house and look at all the products you have. Because somewhere, especially in the 90s.
Especially in the 80s and 90s, DuPont made everything. I think they sponsored Jeff Gordon's NASCAR car.
Oh, yes. The Rainbow Warrior.
The Rainbow Warrior.
I've never heard of DuPont.
Yes, you absolutely have. Go look in your chemical closet.
Oh, okay.
Because
anything
Teflon,
Kevlar, Freon,
I don't
paint,
read
spray
the
paint,
labels.
Spray paint, real paint.
I don't read the labels.
Car paint.
I just
Car
use it.
paint, largest chemical giant at the time in the world.
Well, okay, Katie, you're just going to have to believe us
Yes.
that DuPont was huge, and having a 25% stake in DuPont was very, very lucrative.
Yes. All the nonstick pans
Just
in the world at the
everything.
time. Whether they
Everything.
now go in your gut and cause cancer, that's
Yeah,
another
well,
topic.
that's a new thing.
That stake was worth $8.8 billion by the 1990s. You're printing money. They're earning $500 million in dividends. That's it. They don't have to do anything.
No.
They don't make any decisions. They don't have to do. They literally are just getting a
go.
check of $500 million.
Go to your island
That's
and
right.
sit there.
That's not. We're not talking about the liquor industry.
Right.
Just their DuPont money.
I know.
Yeah.
They could have just sat there collecting $500 million every year and just had the little whiskey warehouses just humming and running.
Yeah.
It's like the dream.
But then here comes Edgar Jr. We
There's
wanted you to
always
remember
a
the name
junior.
Edgar.
There is always a junior.
And
In
don't-
every corporate downfall, there's usually
Don't
a
name
junior.
your kids Edgar. That's what we're getting to.
I'm trying to think if there's any serial killers named Edgar. Probably out there somewhere.
If you know of any serial killers, name Edgar. Leave us a comment. So in 1995, which is the year I graduated from high school, Edgar Jr. decides to modernize Seagram. Someone should have tackled him by selling the entire DuPont stake for $9 billion. Do the math, folks. It doesn't take long if you're getting $500 million a year just sitting around to make up $9 billion.
But the worst part is what he did with it.
Yeah, he buys an 80% share of MCA and Universal Studios, including the theme parks, and Geffen Records. So, what did he do? Traded his lifetime.
For potentially Jurassic Park 3,
You
honestly.
better believe it.
That's essentially
and we
what he
all
did.
saw Jurassic Park 3. You know what they should have done? Not made Jurassic
Should
Park
have stuck
3.
with DuPont.
And some questionable Busta Rhymes albums. I mean,
You
is
know
that
you
really
were listening to
what-
those in 95.
Do you want to put your entire life's inheritance in Busta Rhymes?
No, I don't. I would have stuck with DuPont, and I would have hired 2 or 3 well-educated humans that I paid and treated very well, and then I would have gone to my private island.
There you go.
Checked in
This
at
is-
board meetings
but
3 times a
This
year.
is where it gets brutal. If Seagrams had held on to DuPont, that same stake would be worth $8 billion today in stock alone. And over the last year, they would have pulled in $10 billion in dividends. So they would have made somewhere around $18 billion. They sold it for $9 billion.
It's a stupid amount of money.
Yeah.
It's like selling your entire retirement and then buying a cupcake truck that just sets on fire immediately. Like, it's terrible decision.
So guess what they did? Edgar Jr. does what? He bankrupts the company. He bankrupts it in record time, and the whole thing is sold off for scraps. And the Bronfman family fortune shrinks by more than half. Now, I get it. They're probably still worth a couple $1 billion. But
Yeah.
when you have the ability to become a $100 million mogul
Yeah, it's
by
all
just
it's
going
all
to
relative.
an island and you
Yeah.
lose the company
don't mess
and you
it
have
up.
no ability to reestablish,
That's
which
also
he has none.
multi-generational wealth.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
moving money world. And
Well-
it's not in technology, right? I mean, people have done that quickly in technology. But when we talk about industrial money,
Well,
that's that's just shit different.
It's typically takes a little longer than that to dismantle that level of generational wealth. So
He did it in a couple years.
yeah,
So who gets the pieces? Now, I always mispronounce them. It's
Diageo.
Yeah. They scoop up Crown Royal. Listen to some of these names, y'all. They get Crown Royal, VO, and Captain Morgan. Pernod Ricard gets Chivas, Glenlivet, and Martell. Bacardi and Brown-Forman and Buffalo Trace, they pick up all types of labels, including
Eagle
Eagle
Rare.
Rare, right? And they get all those stocks, and they're getting it for pennies on the dollar.
So then, what happened to that massive Indiana Disneyland distillery?
Oh my God. So it floats around for a couple years. And then MGP, they come in with a reported $11 million. Now we know that that's the reported 11, and then there's probably another 10 and other folks.
Still a bargain.
But for about $11 million, they buy the entire plant. They buy the plant, they buy the trucks, they buy the warehouses, and they buy
Everything
all the bourbon in the
and
warehouses.
the intellectual property.
And the intellectual property, every bit.
Yeah.
For a reported $11 million for a total of around $22 million.
Yeah, all in.
What does that buy you in modern day?
I mean, not a jet.
Not even a Jumbotron wear?
No, in Dallas.
That's right. You can't even buy a Jumbotron. Yeah, there are NBA contracts for crappy
seriously.
players.
For mediocre players that are around that
$20
amount.
million.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So this is where we get to, everybody's like, well, we're going to drink bourbon, right? Yeah, we are. So, rise of MGP. So, what was MGP? It's a Kansas company that made wheat protein and industrial spirits. What are industrial spirits? If you've ever cleaned your house, gone to a doctor,
used rubbing alcohol,
that's industrial spirits, right? So, it's in basically everything that's in your house. It's not sexy.
No.
But we all use it, and we use it
Remember during COVID when a bunch of distilleries started dabbling in industrial spirits and producing hand sanitizer, and suddenly all our hands smelled vaguely of tequila?
Yeah.
Like, that's industrial spirits.
Yeah, and they were doing a ton, but they had the money, and they buy it all for about $11 million.
They did do that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like buying an abandoned storage unit, and then you find it's full of like diamond encrusted Rolexes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's kind of what we're talking about here.
So just to kind of put that in perspective of what type of deal that is, Rabbit Hole was just recently sold for $100 million, and Rabbit Hole has 3 labels.
Right. A fraction of the stock.
Fraction, right?
Yeah.
Bardstown Company was sold to the Pitsker Group, which is it's a family.
It's like
family
private equity
firm
fund.
for $600 million. Lux Row, MGP buys them for $475 million. Widow Jane's parent company, 1 label, $215 million. So MGP's Lawrenceburg net is easily worth today $600 million.
That's like buying a house sight unseen for $100,000 and finding out it's Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, it's bizarre. So, meanwhile, Seagram's ghost is out there, and he's just rolling around in his grave. He's like, I built you a gold mine. You sold it for Busta Rhymes in Jurassic Park 3.
Essentially. Yeah.
I will say that the first Guns N' Roses album was on Geffen Records, and it was fantastic. But that was well before it was sold to MCA. So, they didn't even get the returns on that.
Can we circle back to bourbon?
Yeah. So, they won it because it was turnkey. Column stills, aging warehouses full of barrels, and trained staff. MGP, it was plug and play. Right into the bourbon and rye boom, and they started contract distilling on day 1 for dozens of brands and became the ghostwriter for literally half your bar.
So it's kind of like finding Cartier in your grandma's attic.
Our goal for this episode was as many metaphors as we could possibly come up with.
I will let you guess who took point on writing this one.
That would be me.
It wasn't me.
So this is the gut punch.
He loves him a metaphor.
15 to 20% of all the bourbon and rye sold in America today is
MGP.
That's right. And if it's straight rye, 70%.
That's crazy.
70%. 7 out of every 10 bottles on the shelf of straight rye is
MGP.
Just to throw that out there, Bardstown Dry is one of their most popular products. Now, Bardstown is a massive contract distiller. Mm-hmm. Guess where they get their rye?
I'm gonna guess MGP.
It's MGP.
So
bizarre.
It's not stretching the realm of possibility for 60% of the bourbon and whiskey stock you see in one of your favorite bars to have roots back to MGP.
Yeah. So when you say Bullet Rye, Templeton, Angel's Envy, Redemption, Smooth Ambler, High West Smoke Wagon, if it says distilled in Indiana, specifically Lawrenceburg, Indiana, it came straight out of the same still and it came straight out of MGP. So, where does that leave us?
Hopefully tasting some bourbon.
That's the truth. So after all that, let's actually try some of the juice that powers half the bourbon country.
That might have been the longest story time with B in History with Heather the show.
It is, but what we've done is we have set up for 5 episodes, but we're not going to talk about almost any of that.
Right. We had to lay the groundwork.
We have 5 to 6 straight episodes that are going to come out over the next 5 to 6 weeks on MGP products, MGP source products, and I mean, when you walk into a bar and you see the labels that you know, and there are all these craft distilleries in the middle, that craft distillery is probably
MGP.
Probably MGP.
Which, again, don't have an issue with MGP.
No.
But disclose that that's where your juice comes from.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Don't act like you have great Uncle Bob out back using the family recipe distilling it.
So
like, let us know it came from MGP.
To lean in more into, because no one wants to read on a bottle MGP, right?
No.
So MGP has taken the Seagrams plant, which still has Seagrams painted on the side, and they now call it the Ross and Squibb Distillery. So the Seagrams plant is the Ross and Squibb Distillery that is owned by MGP, and their label out of their stuff is Ross and Squibb.
Right. Which they had also acquired the Rossville distillery back in the day.
So as you shared with us, Rossville Union is one of the Rossville plant they acquired back in
late 1897.
Yeah, one of the people who wasn't trying to blow the company up acquired these folks.
Yes.
Now Rossville Union, this is their 6-year bottled and bond rye whiskey. Mm-hmm. But uniquely, when we talk about most of the rye that comes out of MGP, their famous mash bill for rye that most of we've been drinking in 70% of the rye, straight rye in America, is a 95-5 mash bill. Mm-hmm. So it's 95% rye, 5% malted barley. So it's rye.
Right.
Now this is if I remember correctly, 51% rye, 49% malted barley. So this is a little different, but this is one of their labels. It's one of their in-house labels. So, Katie, what should we expect?
You should expect your favorite mint.
Oh boy.
Caramel, black pepper, and dill.
Okay, that description is awful.
I agree.
Awful.
Unless you're a pickle person.
I don't like pickles, and I'm not a picky eater, but I just don't care for them. And describing a bourbon in that manner, black pepper, mint, dill, and then caramel, that sounds like some concoction a middle schooler would come up with in the cafeteria.
Yeah, and to be fair, I like pickles. Like, I like gherkins. Mm-hmm. Gherkins.
Do you like sweet?
Sweet gherkins.
Okay.
But you know what I don't want to do? Drink it.
Drink it? In your bourbon?
Yeah, if I come in and, like, I'm eating a sandwich and I can have a little gherkin with my sandwich, that's great. Right. I don't want to drink it.
Like, I've never seen you take a pickleback shot. Like.
And you know what? You can probably write down in a book that it's not going to happen.
You know I'm not.
Now, if we bet on it, though, you know I'm going to probably take a big shot.
Yeah, I know. So. I've learned my although missed an opportunity yesterday morning.
That's because we didn't bet.
That's true. Your Italian would have been out of here. I'm up. We're out.
I'm out. But where's my payback? Where's my payback? All right, so
drink your nasty smelling bourbon.
Yeah, so what's it smell like to you?
Dill.
It does.
With a little mint.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
I'm not excited. Let's taste it now.
All right.
No. Nope. My favorite bartender in the world could recommend that to me, and I would tell him straight in the face. I don't know what you're doing here.
I think that has its place.
In hell?
See, what I'm getting from this.
I'm not being subtle.
So what I'm hearing here, I'm going to use all my grown-up words.
Oh,
so what
do you have some?
Okay. No, not really. All right, so you definitely get some intense mint. Mm-hmm. And you get, here's the crazy thing, the spice is overpowered by the mint.
The spice is overpowered by the mint and dill.
Yeah.
And you can't get any caramel. The aftertaste is not my personal taste preference.
I'm going to have to, for
nice.
the little images we put over here, I've never thought in a bourbon show I was going to have to put a...
Pickle?
A pickle. All right, so what are you going to rate this?
This is the place for the pickle. Okay, I recognize that it is quality. Like, I'm not trying to insinuate that Rossville Union doesn't know what they're doing. But I would have to, at the very least, mix it with something that would mask its flavor profile for me. So I'm going to rank it Bless Your Heart.
But if you have to drink it straight, it's
Piddling.
Okay, fair.
For me, personally.
Yeah, it's Bless Your Heart. I think I could put it in a mix. I'll make it something good.
Yeah.
I can hide it. I can disguise it. All right.
In a mint julep, maybe.
All right, so let's move on to our next.
All right, what we got up next?
I think we're gonna like the Remus a little bit better.
I think that's probably gonna be more in line with my flavor profile.
Yeah, there we go. Once again, from the Ross and Squibb
We've had
distillery.
Remus before in various
so Ross and Squibb, which is actually the Seagrams plant, which is actually MGP, but this is their in-house brand. I mean, that's the important thing we gotta make here. So this is Remus. This is not their everyday brand. This is their. This is their chairman's pick, coming in at 113.2 proof, but it's the same mash bill as this.
It is.
It's the same. It's the same distillate. Mm-hmm. Same distillate. Mm-hmm. All right, so Katie, what are we drinking?
I like these tasting notes a little better.
Brown sugar, cherry, and toasted oak.
Yes, that smells better. That smells much better. See, now smell that.
I know it's going to taste like mint and dill. Like a weird sandwich.
I mean, it's so... But we've talked before about how smelling and tasting other things and then coming back to things alters it a little bit.
Oh, God.
Right? It's almost like I've done this for a while.
But do you like rye bread?
No, actually, I don't.
Well, that's...
I don't
no,
care.
So
We've talked about that, yeah. Rye's not my preferred flavor profile. I'm never going to go for that over, like, more of a wheated or something like that.
Okay. Well,
It's not my thing. Now that I like a whole lot. That's delicious. Has a great mouthfeel. It's almost got a syrupy consistency.
There's more cinnamon into that, too.
More cinnamon, more of... There's a little bit of that vanilla sweetness. The brown sugar is on point. Cinnamon. Although
And there's brown sugar.
My boy Jimmy didn't get to touch this, though.
Not that we know.
Now that would be a really cool, like, little surprise. Like, by the way, we have Jimmy Russell
Just walk
popping over here and
pop
popping cinnamon in it. Yeah. I'm going to rank this one Hush Your Mouth. This one being the Remus. You going with that?
Look, we've made everyone sit here and listen to the history of alcohol in the United States from 1850 to now.
Yet it's still not as long as our first real episode
It's not.
on
No,
the
it's
entire history of Jack Daniels and Uncle Nearest and the Civil War and anything else you wanted to know about.
Slavery and oppression, you name it. We got it.
We got into it.
All right, so where does that leave us?
Right here behind this barrel.
All right.
So I think it leaves us with Remus being a Hush Your Mouth, right? Whatever that was.
Rossville Union.
Being Rossville Union Rye. I respect your game, not my personal taste.
But if you were gonna recommend a solid rye to someone who likes a rye taste.
I've had ryes I like though, so I would probably recommend those.
Okay, fair. All right.
But anyway. So where that leaves us is this is only part one of MGP, like B alluded to earlier. So this kind of set the stage, gave you the history. We tried their in-house brand.
Yep.
Really loved
A couple of them,
right. And then in part two, we'll get into some more shenanigans when it comes
they
to MGP.
they buy Luxro, and we're gonna try Luxro.
They do
brands.
that.
And we're gonna do a whole episode on some of their people who source
From them.
and put out some products.
Yeah.
And then we've got a weeded series coming out.
You know I love a
on
weeded
MGP.
series.
So
I love me a weeded series.
We're gonna beat this Indiana Pacers.
Look,
wagon
we're gonna
forever.
get as much game out of this as we can,
Absolutely,
honestly. But
because-
before that, like and subscribe.
Yep. And check
Follow
out
us
the
on
website.
socials. Check out the website.
We have a faux pas. We have to. Because I'm not cheersing with.
No, I'm not either.
We have guests in the studio today. I'd like to thank them for joining us.
We do. We're excited, and we're going to be filming with a guest very soon. Not one of our MGP episodes, but something else. He was kind enough to bring us some things to try, so we're really excited about that. And his lovely better half also joined to watch and spend the evening with us. So we are very much enjoying that, and we might have seemed a little bit nervous because we're not used to people watching us film other than producer Katie. But B and I can talk in front of just about anyone. So
Especially you. With that, cheers, y'all.
Cheers, y'all.